Gators Breakdown, because there's never a dull moment in Gator Nation.
The Gators Breakdown podcast is ready to go. I'm your host, David Waters. You can find me on social media at GatorDave_SEC, coming at you live from the swamp. Florida defeats Mississippi State 23-21. The Gators survive, but does Billy Napier? That is the question coming out of this game, of course. It's Will texts me, Will Wiles, of course, co-host, and it was like the Billy Napier-ish of wins that Florida could have in what might be Billy Napier's final game as head coach at Florida. So lots to get into. We'll talk about the game a bit. I know the biggest topic is Billy Napier, of course, and if this was his last game, I mean, you could certainly tell after the game in some ways that the press conference, kind of getting choked up when talking about the players, when he kind of asked about maybe could this be his last game or not, and different ways that question was asked and all that. And you could certainly tell he had to slow down and think about what he wanted to say before he did choke up a little bit, talking, just really focusing on the players, not really making it about himself. And then, even right after the game, when he's running into the tunnel, he runs in right behind Mekhi Burrow. So the crowd right there at the tunnel is cheering Mekhi Burrow, and pretty much Billy Napier just sprints through the tunnel behind Burrow. And, man, you could tell the stark difference in the crowd right there at the tunnel. It was cheer for Mekhi Burrow, and then boos and fire Napier and all that. But Napier was sprinting into that tunnel faster than I've ever seen him do so. So he knew it was going to be ugly. Everybody heard the fire Napier chants that was going on during the game when Florida, late in the fourth quarter, just things not going Florida's way, calls a really bad third down play. And, of course, Lagway doesn't see an open Trey Wilson down the field as he's sprinting. It was 3rd and 1. So he should have been running Jadan Baugh, who was having an outstanding game, one of his best games of his career as a Gator running back, set a career high in rushing yards. We'll get into all that. But I don't think Gator Nation would have, look, he's not trying to appease Gator Nation here, but don't think Gator Nation would have blamed you too much if you had put the game on Jadan Baugh's shoulders. And inexplicably, to me, play action, rollout. Lagway doesn't see Trey Wilson down the field. Lagway takes a sack. Florida goes 3 and out. Has to give the ball back to Mississippi State, who then drives down the field. Mekhi Burrow, incredible interception. Drops into coverage as a defensive lineman, of course. Sim, creeper, all that, stuff about Ron Roberts' defense. He drops into coverage, read perfectly, interception. Florida escapes. Florida wins 23-21, but it was not a pretty fourth quarter at all when you look at just kind of probably what it means here for Billy Napier. So, Brian 49-21, I'll get to some comments right here. It's glad you're healthy, Dave. So many injuries that I started to worry you were next. Part of this game as well, Florida, a mash unit, especially in the defensive backfield. Devin Moore goes down, and of course, Cormani McClain wasn't playing, so your top 2 corners are out. So you have Grimsley and Caraway and Hanks and Lagonza Hayward back there. Alfonso Allen playing at safety, who played well. We'll get into some of his stats. Javari Flowers. These are guys who don't have a lot of snaps this year, and certainly for the situation they were in. Now, I thought Mississippi State didn't take advantage of it too much. Now, sometimes when they tried to, Florida's defensive front played well. Florida gave up 468 yards, but I think when you're playing with a mash unit in the defensive backfield, it was up and down. I thought those guys, some of those young guys, played well for their first action. They did some things good, some things you'd expect. Napier said after the game they were playing defense to protect those guys, trying to play a light box. So that's probably why Mississippi State was trying to run the ball a good bit, because Florida was trying to protect the back end, so playing in a light box. Mississippi State stuck with the run. I thought they might try and pick on the young corners and the young secondary a lot. They weren't able to consistently. They hit some big plays. If you listen to the preview, Mississippi State was going to hit some big plays. Maybe not consistently, but they were going to hit some big plays, and they hit some big plays. We'll try and get into that too a little bit too. But I mean, credit to these. I mean, it's 2 seasons in a row now. The last half of last season, of course, Florida being a mash unit in a lot of ways on defense. Guys stepping up, playing well. Kind of did it again here, but well enough to win and well enough to come up with the plays when they needed to. Thereas Mississippi State, now while you're passing late, you were in field goal range, maybe not confident in the kicker kicking from that far, okay, but I'd probably still lean, revisionist history here, but I'd probably lean on the ground game a little bit more if I'm Mississippi State in that situation. But good call by Florida on defense to get that Makai Burrow interception. So there we go. That's kind of how it was. I'll get to it. This is the first comment I see. I will scroll back up, but of course, Blueberry right here is going to ask me, Dave, do you think this was his last game coaching? I do. I think this was Billy Napier's last game as Gators head coach. Love the guy to death. I've got to know Billy Napier, away a little bit. But, hey, it's about wins and losses. It's about looking good, too. Florida could have, should have, would have lost this game in some ways and probably shouldn't have. It shouldn't have been in that situation. But, hey, look, it was not – it hasn't been pretty. You got to win tonight. I'm happy Florida wins, happy for those players. But I think if the goal is to go with an interim and you got a bye week coming up, get that interim ready for Georgia. I mean, we've seen throughout the country, interims come in, the team's playing good. You're not shoving away anything to do with the players by going ahead and moving on from Billy Napier and bringing an interim in. It can light another fire. It can be a spark. He loves the players. I know the players love him. But this is a different college football world now that we're living in. And you have NIL, and you have guys who want to go put stuff on tape, whether, for the rest of this year and thinking forward for NIL deals. Maybe it's here at Florida, maybe another school. They still want to go out there and put some good film out there. It's a different college football world right now. So I don't think guys really just going to mail it in maybe like in years past. So I think when you look at it, I just think, to me, the writing is on the wall. I do think this was Billy Napier's last game. Brian says, that's what makes it hard on a human level. I know Billy's a stand-up guy. I know he's turning boys into men, but you get paid $7.6 million a year to win. That's the deal. All the coaches know it. And look, that's what he said all week too. So that's kind of just where it's at. He knows the expectations, and it's time for us to get to somewhere near the expectations, and that's not going to be under Billy Napier. Jordan Kelly, Dave, who do you think on the current staff will be the best interim? The best interim, I would go with Billy Gonzalez. Been around the program many, many years. Urban, Mullen, now knows it. Mike Pete, I guess, in some ways too, because he's a player. I go Billy G in that route because you can promote Decker to wide receiver coach while Gonzalez is on the sideline. That allows Ron Roberts to stay up in the booth as the defensive coordinator, Russ to stay up in the booth as the offensive coordinator. I don't think much changes if somebody like Billy Gonzalez, you're not upsetting the apple cart in a way. You're not shifting people who might need to be in the booth down to on the field. All that to me, that's the easiest way. I know Jabbar Jaluke's name's going to get thrown in there. If he had not been suspended because of, slapping a player against LSU, I think he probably sure would have been the shoe-in. I hesitate on that, but I think there's probably some value in thinking he could be the guy too. So I think it's one of those two guys. I think it's Billy G or Jaluke. I would go with Billy G. I probably will say it will end up being Jaluke. But that's just how I see it. Let's see. Junior pops in. Thanks for the donation, Junior. I'll try to get to some comments, guys, but if you do want to comment, look, I'm not begging for money. I'm not anything like that. But between Twitter and YouTube, there's 1,300 people watching. I know there's comments coming in left and right. If you really want me to get to the comment, it will have to be submitted super chat style star so I can see it. So I know you want it on air. Be respectful, be fair. I mean, a lot of things are fair, but I'm not going to sit here and cuss and all that stuff on an episode just so you can get the comment read. Even if you pay for it, I'm not going to go on a cussing storm or anything. But Junior says, "Go Gators! Brighter days are coming." Junior, thank you so much here for checking us out right here on Gators Breakdown. GK 15,000. This has to be his last game. I'll take the W. There you go. Of course, I'm happy for the players to go out there and go win. They're the ones who, take they're the ones who put the blood, sweat, and tears in, more so than the coaches are. So you're happy for them. You see the way they act. They react to all this, and it's it's good for them to go. And look, I still go to cheer for this team to win. Whatever happens. We don't control what happens. What we can control is going out there and cheering for those guys that go play some football, and that's what I will do, and you can do if you want. But as GK 15,000 says, I'll take the W. Let him go out on a win. But that was ugly as a win as you can get. It's clearly time for both parties to move on. That seems to be the prevailing thought right there, GK. All right, let me scroll back up to the top, and then we'll kind of summarize the game a little bit, look over some stats and all that good stuff. Goodbye, Billy, in the same sound as goodbye, Toby from The Office. Love The Office, by the way. So I like seeing that. All right, let's see. Dubster 37 says, "I love High Top and this one, and Allie's the most." Hey, thank you much. Everybody's on pins and needles right now, and so we're doing that. So a lot of coverage out there for you guys. I think Gator Nation has it the best. I'm, of course, biased of all the coverage out there from myself and High Top and Allie and Stadium and Gail and Gator Nation Football Podcast. I mean, I know all you guys are going to be tuned in, really, really tuned in, dialed in the next few days of what's going on here. So I think everybody kind of knows the writing on the wall right now. We'll see. We'll see where it goes. Gator swag, Davis tomorrow the day. I think so, man. I think so. No, there's not going to be any news on the next coach right now. Look, I mean, I haven't got into it. I'll live in this world right now until we get the news Billy Napier's fired. We had a game today. We'll get into that too. I think Lane's the top choice, and you go from there. And so that's just where I'll live in that world for right now. I know people want the next, want to talk the next and all that stuff. I'll get to it, guys. If it ticks you off that I'm not willing to jump in that full bore, then I'm sorry, but there's going to be plenty of time for it. Go Pin says, "Great to be a Gator, but it's time for a change. It just looked like Napier was trying everything to lose the game and got bailed out on a bad throw." Look, that's the bad thing. We know he's not trying to lose. But like you said, that's what it looks like. I mean, perception is reality in a way. Look, Billy Napier's not trying to throw a game. He's not trying to lose or anything. But when the perception is that's what it looks like, yeah, I mean, it's kind of that puts it on a scale of ugly. But bad football is being played. Save America 148 says, "Tonight was a good night, boys. We got the W, but most importantly, Billy showed how terrible of a coach he is." I mean, this really should have been, I won't say a comfortable win for Florida, but you had Lagway throwing the interceptions that you can't be throwing those. I mean, the Hansen touchdown, that was a catch, no catch. I mean, in some ways you could say Florida could have, I won't say run away with it, but could have had a comfortable cushion throughout the game. But things just kind of kept happening, and Mississippi State an explosive enough offense where if you're not going to capitalize on the times that you have to go put up some points, they can put themselves right back in it pretty fast, and that's exactly what they did. Jordan Kelly says might extend a week. Well, if you're not going to extend a week with a bye week coming up, that means the extension is 2 weeks. You're not going to make a decision next week before Georgia. So that means you extend it 2 weeks and wait till after Georgia. I just think because of the interim angle that Florida goes ahead and makes the move. And this game was not pretty. Even though it was a win, coaches say all the time, you have to learn a lot from wins as well. Well, we learned even more about the style and the I thought for most of the first half it was a pretty good called game offensively, but turnovers, drops hurt you. And then as the game went on, we started seeing the same old. Jordan Kelly says Micah saved him some, so I'm assuming that's what he means about the timeline. I don't think so, but at the same time, we all know how this had worked last year. Yeah, I mean, nothing's set in stone, but I heavily lean this is it. New kid on the blockism said bring Kiffin in and make him keep Roberts. Peyton Mitchell. Peyton, what's up, man? Gators Breakdown Plus member. And what a connection here. What a connection. The Napier era starts and ends with an undeserved interception. Had the Amari Burney interception to seal the win against Utah in Billy Napier's first game here in the Swamp, his first game as Gator head coach. And Peyton going with the connection of Makai Burrow's surprise out of nowhere interception being the end of Billy Napier era here at Florida. Man, look at you. That was a good one. That was a good one, Peyton. Chris Hand, my buddy Chris Hand, as we were on this subject, did send me this, and here's a historical note there. The last Gator coach to be fired after a win was Galen Hall, October 8th, 1989, after a road win over LSU. There's your historical note. That was the last one. The last one before that was Charlie Pell, September 18th, 1984, after a home win against Tulane. Chris says he was at that game. So there you go. Not unprecedented for Florida to do it. The one recent, Mississippi State's involved. Jimbo Fisher blowing out Mississippi State. Off the top of my head, 51-10 or something like that, and gets fired after the win. So a win, if you know you're going to make the move, if you think you should make the move, a win should not save Billy Napier in this regard. It just should not. Kerry Lee says, 4-minute offense has been an Achilles heel during his tenure. Just never put teams away. Nope. Just, to me, it was there. You had 3rd and 1, and you decide to pass. That was, yeah. If Jadan Baugh had been getting stuffed all day, if the offensive line had not been playing, pretty well in run blocking for the night, sure, I could see it. But, man, Jadan Baugh had been playing good. He's good at getting something out of nothing a lot of times. Anyway, you needed 1 yard. You needed 1 yard. I'm pretty positive tonight Jadan Baugh gets that. I think you overthink it sometimes. Overthinking it. So, like I said, let's just kind of get into the game a little bit right here. As I said, Napier just kind of at the end, just jogging off the field, hearing the boos right there. We'll see what happens tomorrow. But Jadan Baugh, guys, career high 150 yards. DJ Lagway, 280 yards, but he had to offset those 2 interceptions, of course. Florida holds on 23-21. Like I said, kind of with the game and how it ended with Napier talking after the game and stuff. You could just hear him kind of just choking back tears a little bit, talking about I love the game, how much he loves the game of football, loves the game of players. and all that. So Florida now 3-4 on the season, 2-2 in SEC play. Jeff Lebby, Mississippi State head coach, still winless in the SEC. And I'm sure they were circling this game a little bit with how Florida has been playing. Now, a lot of us, look, my bookie had this line at 9.5 all week long. I took Mississippi State to cover. In my prediction, it was a close, I think 27-20, I think. So not too far away from how the game actually played out. But certainly, 9 points was a lot for most of us out there. And I just didn't see. I thought Mississippi State was a good team. They beat a really good Arizona State team, in my mind, played Tennessee tough. And I know Tennessee's not doing so well against Bama right now. Last I saw, I'm trying to keep up a little bit. But Mississippi State's a better team they were last year. And we know how much Florida's been struggling. I thought this would be a dogfight, and it turned out that way. But Jeff Lebby's still searching for his first SEC win as head coach of the Bulldogs. So Makai Burrow coming up big late there. So Mississippi State, 15 straight losses in league play. Napier, 22-23 overall, 12-16 in SEC play in the 4 seasons here. But, no. So it was a lot of errors tonight. We'll go through them. I already mentioned the 3rd and 1 play call, the Lagway keeper. An earlier keeper on 3rd and 7, and we're not too far removed from Billy Napier discussing and talking about how limited DJ Lagway is running. Well, we saw some of it tonight, some design quarterback runs. So maybe he's better, a little bit better, or maybe shouldn't be doing it all that much. But, a couple questionable keepers tonight there. Made the field goal anyway, but penalties before a field goal, making it well over a 50-yard field goal, I think, for Trace Mack. In that regard, let me see. Trace Mack making them from 24, 54, and 53. Yep. And one shouldn't even been nowhere near 50 yards, but Florida had just some penalties. That happens and backs it up. Getting close to the goal line, throwing the ball incomplete 3 times. Another possession before halftime that does absolutely nothing. 12, and it almost come into play here. Florida going for 2 to make it, a field goal difference. And then 12 men on the field. Have to back up, have to end up kicking the extra point anyway. So I don't know if Florida would have got the 2-point conversion anyway, but you didn't give yourself a chance to do it. So it's just, the errors that just add up that we've just seen throughout the years. Another long touchdown was called back for the Gators because of a penalty. Those have added up this year. So many touchdowns that could have been this year. We saw that again in this game. So you see the reasons why this game was a bit closer than it should have been. But there was Florida only winning by 2 points. Mississippi State driving down the field for a potential game-winning field goal. But Makai Burrow steps up, seals the game for the Gators. All right, let's go over some stats right quick. Kind of go into that too, but no Jordan Castell. No Cormani McLean. Devin Moore gets hurt in the game. We'll see how long he's out. But he's injured, out again, as he's been playing so well this year. But so many injuries. Grimsley comes in. Alfonso Allen comes in. So Ben Hanks III comes in. So many of those guys I mentioned earlier. Good job. Good job by those guys. Let's see. All right. Total yards. Mississippi State, 468. Florida, 452. 324 yards passing for Mississippi State, 280 for the Gators. Gators were 172 on the ground, 144 for Mississippi State. Certainly, Florida's, at least yardage-wise, defensive performance, led a lot to be desired, but we know some of the case here with all the injuries piling up. I won't necessarily say that's all of it because we've seen Florida get, with some explosives here and there. We saw it early last week against Texas A&M, and I knew with these receivers Mississippi State had that if they were going to make this a game, it was going to be because explosives. And then with Florida having some young guys in the secondary certainly contributed to Mississippi State dialing them up. I thought they'd dial them up even more, but able to hit some and hit enough to make this a game here. Let's see. Both teams had 7 penalties for 60 yards. Florida, 4 of 11 on third down. Another terrible third down performance for the Gator offense. That's just, besides the Texas game this year, has been well below 50%. I'd have to go back and look now and see what the season stats are. But Florida, terrible on third down. Mississippi State, 8 of 16 on third down. They're 1 of 2 on fourth down. Florida ran 68 plays. Mississippi State ran 80 yards per play, 6.6 for the Gators, 5.9 for Mississippi State. And we'll get into some more. Florida had 4 sacks on the night, 11 tackles for loss. That was the up and down day for the defense. Just kind of seeing it there. Of course, after Florida last week against Texas A&M had no sacks, no tackles for loss. You have 4 sacks against Mississippi State, 11 tackles for loss, zeros last week in both those categories. Bounce back for them, and kind of what we previewed throughout the week. Mississippi State, both teams were coming off playing Texas A&M. Florida last week, Mississippi State a couple weeks ago, and what we found out was, all right, Texas A&M can own the trenches against both teams. But what it showed us was Mississippi State, they were teed with their offensive line performance in that game. It held them back from the explosive against Texas A&M. There was a chance here for Florida's defense to get right. What the theme of kind of this game was, okay, it can be a get right game for Florida's run game, Jadan Baugh in the offensive line, and for Florida to get back on the right side of the tackles for loss, and the sack stats certainly did it here. Zeros last week, 4 sacks today, and 11 tackles for loss for the Gator defense. Let's go here home for the Gators. Lagway, 20 of 34 for 280. No touchdowns, 2 picks, of course. Late with the ball. The one deep down to Hansen, of course, is late and throws it way too far inside. If he throws that ball a little further left towards the back of the end zone, should be touchdown. Or throws it a little bit sooner as well. There was a window that Hansen came open, and it should have been zinged in actually right there. A little bit late. Throws it inside toward the middle of the field a bit too. Just allows the Mississippi State defender to play the ball. If that ball is thrown on time or away, not so much in the middle, that defender has a harder time making a play on the ball. So just that's just kind of where Lagway's he's playing better. He's definitely playing better. It's just it's the mistakes now. The interceptions there, but there wasn't any explosives to speak of at the beginning of the year, and you're still getting those. That's where you make up for it a bit for your DJ Lagway. Hey, adding to my stat here, I think it was 3 and 13 under Billy Napier when quarterbacks throw for more than 30 times. Well, now it's 4 of 14. Lagway throws for 34 times, and the Gators win. That is very rare for Billy Napier's team at the University of Florida, throwing for 30 or more times and actually coming out on the winning side. Only the 4th time since Billy Napier's been here. But you see, there's gains of 20. You had the 50-yarder to VB3. So, a 20 and a 50, not much as far as explosives go overall. You had a streak here, 5. That's the longest streak completion here for Lagway. So kind of a broad look at his day here. But 20, for as far as yardage goes, 26, 12, 11, 4, 12, 18, 50, 12, 18, 8, 7, 12, 18, 9, 19, 26, 8, and 10. So they're not, big time down the field. But living in that intermediate world, where we wanted him to take steps this year anyway. Now got to cut down on the interceptions and see where he can go from there. But there's your look at DJ Lagway's stats for the day. Let's go back to it. Jadan Baugh, of course, leading the way. 23 carries, 150 yards. That was a career high for him, 150. 6.5 yards a carry. And then go Florida receiving. We did see VB3 after he did go down with an injury. Napier said an AC joint sprain. They'll look at it Sunday even more. But he had 5 catches for 95 yards. Hayden Hansen, 4 for 23. J. Michael Sturtevant, 3 for 43. Aiden Mizell, 2 for 30. Mizell was in a boot after he went down with an injury as well. So not just on defense, but in this game, receiver with VB3 and Aiden Mizell both getting injured in this game. And for Aiden Mizell, we saw it when he did have the ball in his hands. He made some things happen tonight, but there he is in a boot again. The guy just cannot stay healthy, cannot stay on the field. That's how it went for receiving for at the top. I mentioned Trace Mack's field goals here, giving the Gators 9 points from 24, 54, and 53. Trace Mack has not missed a field goal since the opener. He missed 3 in the opener against LIU, and I believe it's 9 or 10 straight now for Trace Mack. So good bounce back for him. And then Alfonso Allen getting the start here. Jordan Castell not playing. Yeah, Bryce Thornton and Alfonso Allen as there's the safeties. Alfonso Allen does nothing but come up with 15 tackles in his first start, 8 of them being solo. Bryce Thornton with 7. Jaden Robinson with 7. Lagonza Hayward. Took a little while for him to get involved in this game, but man, true freshman coming in. And what people were wondering, now, Alfonso Allen played, I thought he played good. And people, you got to walk on. Where's these highly recruited freshmen that Florida recruited at safety as well? Well, Lagonza Hayward eventually made his mark on this game as well. 6 tackles, 2.5 of them for loss. I thought he likes to hit. I think he made that pretty present in this game. The sample size I've seen of Lagonza Hayward so far, I love the aggressiveness he plays with at that position. I want to see some more of him. Miles Graham with 6 as well. He had a tackle for loss. Cam James, 6 and sack and a half and 2.5 tackles for loss. Aaron Childs. He had Hanks come in, of course. It's a true freshman playing because of all the injuries. He had 5 total tackles. Brian Taylor comes in. He has a nice game as well. 4 total tackles. He had a tackle and a half for loss. And then Javari Flowers, Michael Carraway, Jamari Lyons, all with 3 tackles as well. So, here we go. Tyreek Sapp only had, 1 tackle last week, I think. Another one, just 1 today as well. I have to watch more games, see how teams are playing him. Are there more double teams? Are teams scheming around him? You'd still like for him to show up in the stat sheet a bit more. George Gums as well with only 1. So, your bigger players here, at least as far as stats go, not there, but somebody like Joseph Mbachu as well. But he was a force tonight. He only showed up on the stat sheet with 1 total tackle. He had 1 tackle for loss. But he was disruptive. So, of course, defensive line stats, you got to watch, and I'm including myself in this, watch the games a bit more, kind of see what teams are doing against those guys. And if they're disruptive anyway without really showing up in the stat sheet. So, all right, there's your Gator stats right there, everyone. And let's see what Florida did in third down tonight. 4 of 11. Average distance to go was 6.4. So better than it has been, but still not converting at a very, very high rate. 36.4%. Third and long, which is 9+, 0 for 2 there for the Gators. All right. There we go. There's your kind of recap of the game to go along with the stats. Let's get back into the comments, guys. Thanks for leaving them here. Sean Smith. Sean, thanks, man, for the big donation there. Thank you so much. Thank you, man. Napier O, scared money, AR-15s to special teams mats to play calling blunders to defenders tackling horrors, okay, to merch. We're in the business to be celebrating 4 wins in a row. To DJ is him, to save DJ from him. Trying to read here. You guys can see where it might be a little hard to read, where it breaks up. I'm trying my best here. But Sean, thanks so much. Where is Lane? He is. He asked. So, all right, let me check the phones here. I'm getting some text messages, so I just got to gotta make sure. I'm sure you guys will let me know in the chat if something comes down and breaks. I hope if you're watching, guys, and the news comes out and you know me and have my phone number or whatever, just call me, because I know if you're calling me and I'm live on air, I know something's going down. So, or you just blow the phone up. But I wouldn't expect anything tonight. I mean, I guess it could leak out, but that's not what that text message was about, by the way. So, but I do have to. You got to keep up with it. Got to keep up with it just in case. So. If you missed it earlier, but I mean, yes, I expect it to happen. Sean Smith, thank you so much, man. All right, let me go back. Bull Gator. This game worked out well for Gator Nation. On the one hand, the Gators were terrible and probably deserved to lose, so there are grounds for termination, even for Strickland. On the other, we won. That the Gators did. Night of Fates, 47-37. Plot twist. Scott Strickland hired himself as head coach. I'll scroll to the bottom and then I'll try to scroll up. But I don't even know how many comments there are. Everybody, thanks. Thanks so much. Nicholas. Oh, so you believe it's happening, Dave? I do. I don't know when you guys are checking in, so I don't mean to repeat myself a whole lot, but with these live streams, and I know there's probably other live streams going on too, I'll repeat the major storyline, of course, here just in case. I mean, I probably won't repeat now. We're 30, 40 minutes into the episode, but yeah. That's a good point, Kevin Reed. Because I just wanted to, since I read your comment, I did want to peek over, and I see it's 23-13 Alabama over Tennessee. College football is weird, he says. If Tennessee loses, they have the same conference record as Florida. Yep. Okay. Rob's a 1608. Makai Burrow has better hands than their tight ends. Man, that was big man interception. That was impressive. Apparently, somebody in the comments thinks I had a stroke. I don't know what that's about. Okay, maybe the way I talk or something. I don't know. Senator Thrax, thanks for hopping back in, man. When the talking heads calling the game shake their heads at Napier calls, you know something isn't quite right. I'm assuming that's the third and one call at the end of the game. Rick H. asked, I heard on another channel that Strickland said this morning that Napier was safe. Do you know anything about that statement, if it's true? I don't know. I didn't hear anything about that. So I don't know where Strickland would have said that on a Saturday morning or if it was said somewhere else. I don't know. I didn't hear anything. And it's, I won't say coach speak, but AD speak. I mean, do you really expect Scott to say anything publicly like that? No, not until the word comes down that he's fired. Anything up until that point is going to be he's our guy or whatever was out there this past week's not true. I don't know. But I didn't get to see it, so I can't really speak on it too much. Okay, I got you, Sean. The message Sean threw up there earlier, so I get why he had to try and fit it in 250 characters. So I got you. I got you now, Sean. Senator Thrax says, I'm taking the same stance as I did when I was a kid. Picks or it didn't happen when it comes to Napier. I get it. I certainly get it, man. We've been here. We were here last year. But I just you're going to hear a lot. I mean, I see Junior in here saying chats are confirming he's fired now for what it's worth. So Animal says there is a false Pete Thamel account that has Napier already fired. Obviously not true. Yeah, I don't think it's coming out tonight. It could. Okay, I'm just going to scroll up and stop because I know there's a lot here that I'm missing. I want to get some of you guys in, but as I said, if you want to make sure I read what you got to say, you will have to put it in the super chat. Gator Guy 67631, and this would be part of whenever we do the Napier review of when the decision is made. Think of how much we'll save without a second O-line coach when they're all fired. I mean, that's one of the things we look at, right? And when you go back to the beginning of Billy Napier, I was the one who asked him at his opening press conference of how he was going to assemble the offensive staff. Was he still going to call plays? And that was really the main part of the question. I asked him, hey, I know you've been calling plays at Louisiana. Are you still going to call plays at Florida? Yes, I'm going to call plays at Florida, and pretty much went on a spiel of how they were going to construct the offensive staff. We're going to have two offensive line coaches. And the way he explained it was, hey, you have corners and you have safeties in the secondary, and you have a corner coach and a safety coach. Well, on the offensive line, you have tackles and you have guards and centers. And why wouldn't you have two coaches for that group? So that's how they explained it. That's how Billy Napier explained it when he was hired. And, of course, when we go back and look at things, I mean, look, especially now with staffs, and you can pretty much put as many people on staff as you want right now. It's kind of been that way a lot in regards, and maybe not for on-field coaches back in the day, where you would dedicate two on-field coaches for the offensive line. But in practice and behind the scenes, it's kind of happening anyway. But Adam Creel says, I hope LSU doesn't join the coaching carousel. Hey, what a win for Vandy. What a win for Vandy. Not just saying Vanderbilt. Not just saying Vanderbilt. And not the same LSU a lot of fans thought they were getting in this season for their fan base. I mean, think about it. They did not look all that impressive in a win over Florida, but they had a big win over Clemson to start the season. That doesn't look good. The win over Florida doesn't look that good. You just lost to Vandy. So they lost to Ole Miss. So they have two losses, and they're not happy. They're definitely not happy. I think it would take a little more for them to jump into it, but yeah, I don't see it right now. Bull Gator, yeah, I wanted to go there too. I wanted to kind of move on, but I can come back to it now. Galen was fired for NCAA violation. Sure. Yep. That's certainly other circumstances come into play of being fired after a win. Dubster 37, Dave, do you want the coaching job? I do not. Hey, these coaches here, they will forget more about football than I will ever know about football. It doesn't mean it's got to, it doesn't mean they're the greatest coaches in the world, but this is their living. You may not agree with how they approach the game of football, but they will know and they will forget more football than I know most, probably 97% of you out there know. But that's just it right now. And that's it. It's the approach about it all. You can know a whole lot. But here's the thing. We know when it looks bad. We know when we're not satisfied. We know when it's not acceptable. I'm not a chef, and I know when food tastes bad. I don't have to be a coach. You don't have to be a coach to know when it's bad. And that's where we're at right now. Now I'm hungry. I'm going to have to stop on the way to Jacksonville and get me something to eat. Dubster coming in. Anchor down, Dave. Billy done, though. No, I can't say that, but this game aged everyone in Gator Nation. Man, my mouse is acting up. Okay, there we go. Sorry, guys. Animal 6039. I don't know about this just because Ron Roberts is here. I think Austin Armstrong knew what was happening and got out while he could. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Florida goes on the 4-game winning streak to end last year, so there were some better feelings, some good feelings around the program. Ron Roberts was the DC. Austin Armstrong wanted to go somewhere he could be DC. So I can't jump in that boat. JT with a good I like this point. In my opinion, it makes your program look more serious if you have the stones to fire after a win. The reservation some people have is if you did already, because look, this has kind of been out, almost a week now. I think going back to last Sunday, that Florida, that some people, maybe even Scott Strickland, I don't think Scott Strickland, but okay, just play along here for what's been out there this past week, that regardless, win or lose, Napier was going to be done. And then there was some people who thought Billy Napier even already knew that he was told Monday or something like that. I don't believe that. And then the thought would be, okay, well, you tell him that. Why wouldn't you go ahead and fire him? You just go ahead and tell him that he's fired and he's going to go coach 6 days later anyway. And it didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But there was a lot of talk this week as well. And I'm sure he heard it. I don't think they're dig their head in the sand that much. But he was going to be gone regardless, win or lose. I do think, going back to it one more time, if you think about the plan, if your plan is, if Napier does it, if you're going to make the decision and Napier's not going to finish the season as head coach, he's not going to stay on after he's fired, well, then if you know you're going to make the move, go ahead and make the move during the bye week. And if you know you got to get an interim in place because Billy Napier's not going to stay on, then you make it tomorrow. You make it on Sunday. Get the interim in place. It can pay off. We've seen it this year. Get everybody on the same page and go beat Georgia. Great win by Georgia, beating Ole Miss today. But I still think there's a possible way that this Gator team can win a lot of games from here on out, and they can lose a lot of games from here on out. That's where this team is right now. At their potential, they can play with anybody left on their schedule. They can also look like dog crap against the rest of the schedule. kind of just been a microcosm of Billy Napier's tenure. Craig Kurtzman says Dave wants the buyout. Now I will take the buyout. Yeah, you want to hire me for the buyout? I'm all for it. Hire me for the buyout. I will take that. Alpha Gator says Nashville is bumping. I bet Nashville is fun with the big Vandy win. Craig says Billy can only blame himself. Not too stupid to make changes in play calling and game management. Needed to make some changes, for sure. Sean Smith, one more time in here. I stopped watching Gator games live after LSU. Would rather spend more quality time with my son. Can't really call watching Billy Napier-led Gator teams with my son quality time. Ouch. Ouch. But, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people in that. I mean, I had friends who, had wives who really didn't want to come to the game because just, there's – when you're at this part – look, the Swamp was still sold out. A lot of tickets were sold before the season, but this game still sold out. But when there was a lot of talk, even in the press box, guys, of just the feeling and feeling pregame. Campus wasn't the buzz. There's people here. The Harmonic Woods tailgate was good, but I've had better. I've seen better there. It's a little subdued, and that followed into the stadium. It was pretty quiet most of the game. It was pretty, and it was apparent. And we talked about it up in the press box. It was just you kind of know what's coming. And, you're not really putting up a ton of points. The offense, turnovers and penalties and all that, it's just kind of where it was at right now. And I think that's kind of when you look at the decision that needs to be made, and we're saying, win or lose, what we felt in the Swamp today is another reason for it. I mean, it was just it felt really weird. It felt really weird. And I think you see a lot of people just not as hyped to watch Florida football right now. Next Mile Show, says Sean Smith, over under redo. We really do need to redo the over-unders. That's going to be so ugly at the end of the year. Do we revisit during the bye week? That's Sean. We may have to. That's going to be ugly. I don't know if we'll redo it. King James. I don't bring up Dan Mullen too much, but would have had a ball with this team. Yeah, maybe. He wouldn't never got this team together. But, yeah, maybe so. Michael Riddles. Me and my bro were there, and we had our heads hung when the pick happened. My bald spot grew 10% after that. Oh, yeah. Kind of funny how that one goes. I'm still happy for Macabre. I'm still happy for the defense. Like I said, it may be because I think it happens regardless. Happy for the players. That's funny. Sean Smith says, I honestly see us with 7 wins at the end of the year. Wouldn't surprise me. It would not surprise me. I would not be shocked at all. Rob 1608. Speak for yourself, Dave. I'll coach circles around Billy, and my college 2026 record is proof. Man, I don't even get time to play the video game anymore. This football season, I'm telling you, I don't. You guys should just know. It's podcast, it's family time. That is pretty much it. Football, podcast. Okay, no, I wasn't going in order, but let me go in order. Family time, football, podcast, and football podcast kind of married together. But yeah, that's. I wish I had time to play the video game, but I just do not. Okay. Animal, let me get some clarification on this question. Would I be upset if they let Napier stay through the end of the season? So do you mean as in fire him and let him stay on, or don't fire him and we don't know what that means? Like, does that actually mean stay on? Let me rephrase that. Stay as a fired coach or just stay in general? Let me come back to that one. I might could just answer both ways. Okay, Animal says fire him and let him stay on to the end of the season. I'm fine with that. It doesn't bother me. Now, my bad. In one way, it does bother me is the toxicity, I think, still stays around the program. If that's the case, like you're still going to get the boos. You won't get any more Fire Napier chance because he's had already been fired. So maybe it calms down a little bit, but I still think it stays a little toxic. So I do think, and I don't know if he'd be given the choice, but I wouldn't. And it doesn't bother me. Dave had the mega high noons this afternoon. No, I'm tired. I'm tired. I kicked back a few beers at the tailgate, but not too many. Not too many. All right, let's see. Somebody wanted me to answer their question, and then I'm going to pretty much call it. Gator Swag 215. Dave, please answer my question. So, all right, let me see if I can find it, man. All right, I will answer it one more time before I do sign off. What's going to be the word about tomorrow? I think it happens tomorrow. I do think Billy Napier will be let go as Florida coach on Sunday. Do you know like a certain time to be watching out for or what? Maybe it's probably around midday. I mean, that's how I see it. It's usually how, because think about it, the staff has to come in. Everybody's going to have to come in they come in on Sundays anyway. But staff, who else needs to be involved? Everybody's got to be here first. And then maybe a team meeting, maybe not a team meeting. At least that's for Napier. If a move is made away from Napier, then Interim has a team meeting and all that. So 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. somewhere. I'm guessing that would be the window, I would think. You put it out early enough for people to react to it. Definitely not anything you wait till nighttime to do. We'll know. Man, do I sound drunk? I guess I do. Yeah. Dave, how many drinks did you have tonight? I didn't have it's been a few hours since, but been up since 5:30 this morning and come down to Gainesville, tailgate a bit, come do some work. It's been a long day. Jim Williams says, Dave, this was the drunkest I've ever been at a tailgate. Well, I hope you did have fun at a tailgate. Hope you had fun at the game. And we'll see what Sunday brings. Gator Swag says, I have heard that they've called all staff in tomorrow. Well, here's the thing, guys. I've been right here with you. I haven't been on my phone. I checked my phone once. Let me check the watch. But I do have some messages waiting on me. So I'm behind a little bit. I wanted to bring you guys an episode. Wanted to bring you my thoughts, what we can look forward to on Sunday. I do have some catching up to do. But, of course, there's a lot of conversation today. At the tailgate, walking to the stadium, in the press box. Yeah, the conversation's going on. Nobody hid from the conversation. And putting it out, yes, I do think it's done for Billy Napier. All right, everybody. I see the comments. I am heading out. Got a little bit of tidying up to do right here. But on the ride back to Jacksonville, I have to make some phone calls along the way. We will figure it out. But hey, stay tuned on Sunday. Just stay tuned. Go ahead and subscribe right here to Gators Breakdown if you haven't done so yet. You'll get that notification when we go live. I'll put it, will be on X as well. But just stay tuned, guys. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't done so. It really helps us out. I know I'm asking at the end of the episode here. I just wanted to have an episode with you guys. I wasn't even doing my spiel of like and subscribe and all that stuff. I'm doing it now. And the reason I'm doing it now, you're going to want to be with us on Sunday. Join the Gators Breakdown Plus Discord. If the rumors start coming out tomorrow, you can best bet that's going to be on there. It's going to be on there pretty early. Or we're going to have some preliminary conversations until we get the email, till we get the word, till we get the press release from Scott Strickland or the UAA. That's just how it's going to play out tomorrow. But you're going to want to be tuned in. All right, everybody. That would do it for this episode of Gators Breakdown. Florida takes down Mississippi State and escapes 23-21. And stay tuned. Stay tuned on Sunday. That'll do it for this episode of Gators Breakdown. Thanks for checking in, everybody.